What is going on, everybody? My name is Ciara Lawler. Welcome to another week of Movie Mondays. This is the Heroes for Hire podcast. We are back again talking all the week's movie news, entertainment news, and just generally having a bit of a chit-chat about everything to do with film. As always, I am joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Shaun Jamieson. Shaun, how is it going?
Okay, Connor, so physically I'm here,
Yeah.
but mentally I'm here.
Yeah. That is actually both, so no difference.
No different. Well, look, the second time I was pointing to a big pile of trash, but...
Oh, so it's an audio medium. I can't tell.
Oh, so I'll send you a picture of it later. Imagine a big pile of trash. That's me.
I just imagining the WhatsApp picture of you just pointing at a big bin and just like sad face.
It's two separate pictures. The first is the bin. The second is me being sad next to the bin.
Yeah. Oh, I like that one. I will like that one. Shaun, what do we do here on Movie Mondays?
You have spent the week gathering all of the movie news, entertainment news, and just generally having a bit of a chit-chat about everything to do with film is what we're about to do. You've never asked me on this show. You always ask me on Weird News Wednesdays. I'm thrown.
I wanted to change it up. You know what I mean? So, this is movie news, and normally we try and cover like a broad spectrum of movie news. We're not just going to concentrate on comic books, that's probably where we... I'm not going to say specialise, that makes us sound smart, but that would be
Default?
our niche.
Yeah,
that would be our default, because, but this week, luckily, we actually have a lot of comic book news. A lot has happened over the last few weeks, and of course, last week we had a Q&A, so we did not discuss anything that was going on.
That's true. And for those that don't know, by the way, comic books are small pieces of paper folded together with pictures and stories on them. Continue. Yeah,
and for the very... Who is that for? Really quickly.
We're going to get one message that says, oh, thanks, appreciate that.
Fucking hell. I've been doing an old Google search. Did not know these existed. So we're going to start this week where I probably would say an area where I love the most, and that is Batman, Shaun.
Okay.
Because we have news that Warner Brothers and DC, we know they like Batman. We know they really like the Batman franchise. But what if I told you Warner Brothers and DC are going to do something really cool, really intricate, that's going to help business in the long term?
Make a good Batman movie?
2 separate Batman movie franchises will run simultaneously at Warner Brothers and DC Films.
Okay, let's systematically break down this entire news report. Number 1, that's a bad idea. You do Batman right once first.
No, what if we double it up? Then you have 50% chance of one of them going well, and one of them, even if it doesn't go well, if you have 2, it's fine.
You're always getting at least 50% of a return on that.
Yeah, split the writing crew. Write half as decent script on either side.
Split all of your resources.
Split the resources and do 50% of the project you were going to do on each of them.
And what is the 2 Batmans? Is it like Ben Affleck and Robert Pattinson kind of a deal?
No. So Robert Pattinson, we know he's locked in. He is going to be Batman in The Batman in 2022, and everyone's very much looking forward to that. But in a recent interview with the New York Times, DC Films president Walter Hamada spoke about these plans, confirming that a new actor will be brought in to replace Ben Affleck in the DCEU, while Pattinson will still play Batman in unconnected movies of his own.
I thought the DCEU was essentially dead, though.
Well, the DCEU is now back alive, and that means Pattinson's Batman are going to be like a Nolan-verse kind of ish thing, where they're their own separate thing, and they're going to get a new Batman to be in with Wonder Woman and The Flash.
So once they do Flashpoint, they're going to drag some poor fucker in to be Batman in this poor series of movies.
Some poor fucker. That's what their casting call is. Looking for a poor fucker.
But that's okay. The Pattinson side of things, grand. Those were kind of always intended to be their own stories.
And I don't think it would have made much sense bringing him in with Wonder Woman, like with Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman and everything.
No.
Just in terms of that universe is already created, and now you're doing a brand new thing. And we kind of thought maybe they were going to go through Flashpoint, and then maybe that's how they'd bring him in. But when they do break it down, you could probably just be best to keep it separate. But Shaun, they like money, and a team up without Batman is going to make less money than a team up with Batman.
But it needs to be the right Batman, because they made a team up with Batman and it was terrible.
What are you talking about? It's the best movie I've ever seen.
That's why they're recutting the whole thing. Recutting a whole movie.
Do you want to know Hamada's quote, which I think is great?
Yeah, fire away.
I don't think anyone else has ever attempted this.
Let me just think of, an example. Spider-Man.
No, they've never done simultaneously though.
Spider-Verse.
They've gone back to back to back. Okay, Spider-Verse, that's an animated thing, yeah, okay. But two separate projects with the same character, that definitely, and he says, but audiences are sophisticated enough to understand it. If we make good movies, they will go with it. And I think it's a positive outlook to have. But if you bring out a Batman movie in 2019 and then a very, very different Batman movie in 2020, I think very quickly audiences will get bored of, or not bored, but audiences will one, pick their favourite, and the other one will suffer, or else they'll both lose revenue just because the more Batman movies you put out, the less special it is.
Yes, the less people like Batman. People get really excited about Batman when they are casting Batman for a new movie. And all those rumours fly and they're betting on it. It's like picking a new James Bond. Whereas this is like putting Jared Leto's Joker beside Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. And those are technically two separate continuities, but fans of one are not fans of the other, I would say.
Yeah, I think we are seeing at the minute, we know everything to do with the MCU and Spider-Man 3. They are bringing Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield back in a one movie, but it's kind of seen as it's a special thing where timelines are intersecting. This is not one of those situations. This is a situation where they want a Batman in the DCEU, but they also don't want to tell Robert Pattinson to go away because there's a lot of excitement on that side as well. And so you end up with a situation where I think Pattinson's Batman is going to be great from everything we've seen.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, it could be shit, but it looked really, really good. If that comes out and does really well, just imagine Batman Begins comes out, and then the next year, DC put out another Batman movie. That's not the Christopher Nolan Batman universe. That movie's going to get shat on if the first one is good.
Oh, it really is. And there's going to be so much internet speculation, and so some of the clickbait headlines that come out of this are going to absolutely kill me, because it's going to be 10 reasons why these universes are connected, except they're not. And also, like you said, if Robert Pattinson's Batman movie is great, and then they put out a shit Batman movie the year after, that shit Batman movie is somehow now worse as well, because you have something to compare it to.
Yeah, it's the same as if Pattinson's movie is bad and then their one is good. It's the exact same premise. The more stuff you have, the more comparisons you can make between two things. But if you only get one Batman movie every 3 years, you're going to be more excited. Star Wars have fallen down this path where they were doing all of the Force Awakens and one by one coming out, but they were also doing Solo and Rogue One. And when Rogue One came out, I remember a lot of people I was talking to were just and why does Rey look so different in this new Star Wars movie? Yeah. It's so weird because it was another female protagonist. But I understand that audiences are smart enough to do that, but I think you're hindering your profit chances with the big movies if you're taking it away to split it off.
It feels there's a smack of desperation about it, where they're desperately trying to make a connected universe work. And they feel...
And they can't do one without Batman.
Yeah, they feel like Batman is absolutely necessary to that universe. And look, in a lot of ways, he probably is. He's one of the most recognisable, I would say, superheroes. But you could just... Like I think that ship has sailed in the DCEU for that particular Batman, and maybe even that particular universe in general. And I'm not saying they should just reboot it, but maybe they should just take a look at how they design a universe this time.
You could just do a situation where maybe Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa go through a portal. Instead of bringing a Batman in, they go through a time thing in Flashpoint and they end up in Pattinson's universe.
Yeah, and see, like, that's even strange in itself. Because like,
it doesn't work.
It doesn't really work. It doesn't feel earned at all. Like there's a whole there in the Injustice, that game.
Yeah.
There's a really good comic run based off of that, and in it, spoilers for this like 10-year-old comic, by the way, but Oliver Queen dies.
Or comics.
Comics are small books.
Okay. Oliver Queen dies.
And then Black Canary stays fighting on, and eventually, in the comic, after years of fighting, she dies as well. And someone then, I think it might be Deadman or someone like that, brings her to another reality where Oliver Queen is still alive. But for that Oliver Queen, Black Canary died on that day. So both of them have experienced the loss and then having to fight on afterwards. And then they're finally reunited after years of fighting. That felt earned. That felt an earned way to bring a character into an entirely separate universe. Just saying, the Flash ran really fast and now we have two successful franchises mashed together. That doesn't feel earned to me.
Yeah, but they also like Batman and they like money. It is going to just come back to the fact that movies make more money when Batman is in it, in a DC world. And they want to stay on this DCEU idea because they set it out in 2015 or 14 or whatever they set it up, and now they can't back out. It's gone too far. But then on the other side, they now have Pattinson, who they've just let... I think it's weird because letting Pattinson off and letting that movie go with Reeves and everything, like, that's a very good idea, but it's also kind of hindered them because now you're not able to just go back on it and bring Batman in again to a different thing. I think you have to pick one lane. You can't do both. Yeah,
and don't justify it either as, this is a genius decision that no one's ever considered before. It's
nobody's done it before for a reason.
No, yeah, and like it might not. It probably won't work. Let's just say that as well.
Also, from everything I've heard in terms of rumours, the Batman on the set, there's a lot of troubles, and if I remember correctly, the quote I had read was, it includes an overworked Pattinson and an overbearing Reeves.
Oh, Jesus.
So, that's going well.
Yeah, love that.
I think it's because of everything to do with like the shutdowns, and then they started back up. They're against time, and they're like very much, all the setbacks are making them basically fly through it, and they're just overworking Pattinson to the nth degree.
Yeah, so he's absolutely bet simply by schedule.
Yeah. Shaun, we're going to move on from comic book stuff because I wanted to throw this in, but I didn't know where. I didn't want to start with it because it was just going to make you mad.
Oh, okay.
But I have a follow-up to one of the biggest trailer reviews we did last year. Now, we covered a trailer from a little movie, and now a lot of people might not have heard this one. Wild Mountain Thyme, Shaun.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what can you tell me about the Wild Mountain Thyme film that releases next week?
Imagine a really bad Irish accent, if you can. And imagine a whole film made out of that.
Asher be Gara be Jesus.
And
Asher, tiddly dee.
And there's an American chap and he has all the money, but there's a gentle farm boy.
John Hamm, Emily Blunt, Jamie Dornan. 3 big stars. Christopher Walken's in it.
Yeah.
4 pretty big stars, and they decided to all agree to this shitfest.
Yeah, not an Irish accent between them. And we came to the conclusion that it had been offered to the likes of Saoirse Ronan and Brendan Gleeson, but they deemed it shit and didn't do it.
Well, I have 2 very important pieces of news. Firstly, is the director of Wild Mountain Thyme said it's not for people in Ireland.
Interesting.
It's interesting. Seeing as though it's set in Ireland and everybody's doing an Irish accent, and, you know, I don't know.
Connor, this is a card I've never gotten to pull, but is he appropriating our culture?
We never get to do this. But yes, because he's saying maybe we're not smart enough to figure out the plot of Wild Mountain Thyme.
This is actually a really interesting conversation, though, because is it more interesting to do an accurate portrayal of Ireland, or do you just appeal to what people imagine Ireland to be from watching The Quiet Man 1,000 times?
Or like an episode of Murder, She Wrote when she turns up in Ireland.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I think it is a bold call to do a movie in Ireland and then have Jamie Dornan, who's probably one of the biggest actors from Ireland, or from this island anyway.
Yeah.
And then you have Emily Blunt, another great actress, and you've got Christopher Walken there as well, John Hamm. Like, you have a great cast, you set in Ireland, everybody's doing Irish accents, and then say, no, none of you fuckers will get it, because what we're going to do is absolutely just assault the Irish accent. Nobody's going to be doing a good one, and everybody's covered in dirt, and the script is terrible.
It's so shit. And it's the most, it's a land dispute as well. It's the most fucking Irish plotline you could ever have.
Also, if you don't understand what we're talking about, go watch the Wild Mountain Thyme trailer. We did a whole review of it, but this is news because I have found out what the ending of the plot of Wild Mountain Thyme is, so nobody has to see it.
Would you spoil Wild Mountain Thyme on me, Connor?
I think it might actually be more beneficial for all of our lives if you are spoiled on what happens in this movie.
Okay, and can I also just say as well, and this has no bearing on anything, but Connor, Wild Mountain Thyme is set in Mullingar.
Yeah.
Those are not Mullingar accents. You know who's from Mullingar? Niall Horan from One Direction is from Mullingar.
Yeah. It's a very flat accent.
Very flat accent. Not this sing-songy shit. Anyway, spoil the ending for me.
Wild Mountain Thyme, it's a plot. When you look at the trailer, you tell me what you think the ending is. Tell me what you think the plot is. Tell me what you think, how it ends, and I'll tell you what actually happens. Okay,
so I think Emily Blunt's character goes to America with John Hamm, then decides in the end she loves Jamie Dornan, and they take over the land together, and maybe the real Wild Mountain Thyme was the friends we made along the way. And his father's like, oh, you'll never be able to take over the farm. And he's like, sure, father, I want to take over the farm. And then Christopher Walken's doing a Christopher Walken accent mixed in with a leprechaun. And bit of leprechaun saying, there.
A little bit, can't get enough of it. And he's saying, no, Jamie Dornan, who... Let's be honest, we're going to put it out. Jamie, we're disappointed in you the most, okay, for your accent. But you think, okay, well then maybe he'll find himself, maybe he'll find it with himself, he'll find love with Emily Blunt, who will think, no, I want to go home to my small town and get with my boyfriend. Even he's a lovely man, he doesn't have a lot of money, but he's a nice man and he'll look after the farm and me. And if you just ended at that, and the two of them finish up happily, then great stuff. But instead, the ending is, and this is from the director, that Jamie Dornan's character, it ends with that he thinks he's a bee.
What? He's a what?
A bee! An actual bee!
What the fuck? What? He thinks he's a bee? Like a buzzing bee?
Like a buzzing bee. He thinks he's an actual bee.
What?
Yes.
So he says he's a bee. What?
It ends with him saying that he thinks he's an actual bee, not like, metaphorically a bee, a literal bee. And then Emily Blunt's character then talks about how she thinks that she's a swan, and how her father played her Swan Lake when she was a child, and the memory of it made her think she was a swan.
What?
If I could bottle up your reaction, I would look at it repeatedly.
What the who does this? What? Why is... Okay. Is it just a throwaway line, or does he legitimately think and act like a bee in the film?
No, he, the accents are bad, but he genuinely thinks he is a bee. And the explanation was given by Oscar-winning director and writer John Patrick Shanley to Jamie Dornan. And this is what Jamie said. In the end, he reveals his really peculiar secret to Rosemary. And I got myself to a place where I totally believed that I was a bee. You know what's so funny? That day I approached Shanley and said, Shanley, there's something I haven't really asked you. It was the morning of the scene, and I was like, when he says that, does he actually believe he's a bee, or is he just saying that as some dramatic thing?
Yeah.
And Shanley looked me dead in the eye and was like, sure, we all believe we're something weird, or something we're not, right? And I was like, do we? Only Shanley can say something so off-kilter and weird, but he totally believes it.
He believes he's a bee. So is he going around, like, pollinating?
No, it's at one point in the film it is said that he is talking to the air, as bees would.
What? Bees don't... So is he actually mad?
Shaun, how I don't think... Sure, the whole movie he's never perceived as mad. The trailer is just for a shit rom-com in Ireland. But this is a plot twist none of us seen coming.
He's a fucking bee.
That it ends with him being a bee.
He's a... I don't know where to go from here. That's a... Does he do... Okay.
Yeah.
Does anyone else know he's a bee? Has he told anyone he's a bee?
No, he hasn't told anybody else. He kept it within himself all this time until he found true love, and then they're about to get together and he just looks at her and he says, you know, Emily Blunt or Rosemary, I genuinely believe that I am a bee.
And she's fine with this.
Yeah.
Go back to John Hamm.
She says she's a swan.
She's... Look, if you had to pick an animal, you wouldn't pick a bee, would you?
No, you wouldn't. I mean, the director Shanley is said to have said, we're not making it for people in Ireland.
No, who historically hate bees? Is that what he's saying there?
Yeah, I think it might be the bees or the accents.
I was here at the start trying to get into a good discussion about, is it ethical to make a film that's, misrepresents a country? But then you just pull this fucking bee shit out of your arse.
So hang on, I just have Shanley's quote here, and I'm more angry now.
Go for it.
Shanley then said, if we tried to sound like the actual people that Rosemary and Anthony are based on, nobody would understand a word in the film, right? So we tried to do accents that were sort of Midlands, Ireland, and quite specific. So we do sound like we were trying to sound, and that's what I'll say about it.
Fuck, Mullingar is the Midlands.
Shaun, no other podcast about movies is covering this red hot movie news.
But it's what a pointless movie. What an absolute... How did this dude win an award? An Academy Award?
And then to turn around and be like, no, you don't get it.
Yeah, Ireland.
Like, if
you
we
don't know
were
what you're
doing
talking about.
Shitty little Irish people covered in dirt accents, nobody would understand you fucking peasants.
Yeah, that's another thing. She's just covered in dirt all the time.
What we're going to do is very similar to what Black Panther did and pick a very specific accent and just nail down on that, except Black Panther based it off actual regions, whereas we're just going to go broad spectrum. Let's give it a fucking guess.
Yeah, just... the casting was, can you do an Irish accent? And they said no.
No.
And then the director said, give it a try.
If you wanted to be racist, go on. Give me a go.
Sure, it's only the Irish.
I think Shanley has gone to the top of our list of worst people in the world. He's gone to the top of my hate list. This movie, you do not need to see it. Jamie Doran ends the movie by telling his love, who I'm sure he's talking to her at a farm and they're both covered in dirt, as we all are. And he says, I genuinely think that I'm a bee.
And that's at the end of the film, so there's no time to address that properly.
Oh no, you wouldn't want to build that out in a character arc.
No.
Like, it's just there.
It's just there, and it just comes out of nowhere by all accounts.
Shaun, would you like to move on from Wild Mountain Thyme?
Let's buzz off, correct.
Oh, good one. Because I have Sony, Sony have another piece of news this week, but Sony have come out recently, and Shaun, what are one weird movie genre that... one genre that is very well in one take, but doesn't normally translate to films very well? So they're a very good media, but they don't translate to films very well.
Could it be the gramophone? No, it's video games, surely.
No, video games, but Sony has looked at that trend and said, we're going to buck that trend, and we're absolutely not going to dip our toe in. We're going to fuck shit up, because I have Sony has 3 movies and 7 TV shows based on PlayStation games in development as of this moment.
Oh no. Oh.
That is 10 projects.
10 projects. Do they list the games at all?
They don't list all of the games, but currently one of them is Uncharted.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that makes sense.
FIFA.
Their PlayStation production... They're just going to turn over to Sky Sports and just show the actual game.
Job done.
They're doing The Last of Us.
Which is ostensibly a movie of itself anyway.
I would say you just copy and paste that. I don't know how you change that up.
Yeah.
They're also doing a Metal Gear Solid movie that we know of.
We discussed this. Yeah, Oscar Isaac as Snake, isn't that it?
Oscar Isaac is Snake, indeed, which I think is pretty good. I mean, they're some of the ones announced. They're also hopefully going to be doing a God of War movie or TV show.
Oh, but I love God of War. Don't do it.
They're going to ruin it.
They're going to ruin the thing I like.
So what do you think of Sony's grand plan to... A lot of companies have tried this shot, moving video games to movies. And video games, weirdly, make a lot more money than movies do these days. So it's weird that they're still trying to make that transfer, but they are going to attempt it because Sony, of course, own a lot of video games at the minute. Shaun, do you think this is a good idea or bad business?
It's weird because video games are like inherently franchisable and marketable. You can always make more video games, and branching out into the likes of film and TV, it's always the one people ask about. Like, I remember for years and years and years, people were like, oh man, an Assassin's Creed movie would be great. But then you get it.
Yeah, I think it really would work.
Yeah.
I think that would really... Get the guy who played Magneto in.
Oh, brilliant. And just make the Animus a weird fucking arm instead of a chair.
Yes!
Like, the video games have such, especially now, they have such a clear idea of what they are, who the characters are, and what the story is, that people get really attached to those stories and characters. And by design, a film has to be like a 2-hour representation of what can be, a 30-plus hour game. So a lot of that shit is getting cut out immediately, and fans aren't going to like that.
And also, you take away the bit in a video game where you're in control. And now, and a lot of people like that if you're playing, like, Witcher or whatever, like, Witcher is a great series on Netflix, but it's also a great game. That's probably one of the few ones that has worked. That's because they got everything right, but also you get across the tone of it. The problem is, say, when you have, like, movies like Assassin's Creed or Doom, like, a lot of people, whenever they do these interviews, they're like, oh yeah, we really loved the product and we wanted to translate it over to the big screen. What they really mean was they offered me a lot of money to write a script for this, and I played the video game for like an hour, And then I got the gist. I just fucking filled in the gaps.
And it's like, and we know there's a fan base built in, so it's fine. But in terms of, I just want to highlight actually about The Witcher, the series actually follows the books very closely.
Which is good, because you have something to base it off of.
Yeah, like there's this grounding point that you can always refer back to. That does, and what's important, the books don't have player agency. That the player does not control, or the reader does not control where that book is going. It's one singular vision from an author. Whereas in The Witcher, in the third one specifically, you can do whatever the fuck you want, pretty much.
That's actually interesting, because I think if a Witcher book, weirdly, like this is a weird conversation, but if the Witcher book didn't exist, I think the Witcher TV show would be a lot worse. Because as you said, like, if you're trying to transfer something where you have free reign in a video game, and there could be hundreds of hours of content there, and you're trying to get it all down into 90 minutes on the screen, it's obviously going to be harder, because you have so many different... Everyone plays that game differently. And so everybody will have different experiences. Whereas if you could just have a book, like, even though they play the games differently, we're just going to do exactly what's in the book. Whereas a lot of Sony ideas that they have here, Metal Gear Solid, that could be an interesting one. I think that's going to run into the same issue, where a lot of people are going to play that game differently.
Yeah.
And so how do you do that in movie form? I know Oscar Isaac, great actor. And The Last of Us, by the way, that's a movie itself. I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, that is like that's essentially a tech demo for an entirely CGI movie, with actors and a very believable story and great action. Like, it's already, all the elements are there. And someone undoubtedly has cut all the cutscenes from that game together into a movie on YouTube already.
Oh yeah, and it's probably like 40 minutes long, and you could just go watch it now, and it would be better than 55% of movies that are already coming out.
Yeah, because it's what, like, the game designers designed, what the writers wrote. It's not done by a team to make the most efficient fan-pandery movie that pleases no one.
Do you think this is a good idea to go all out? Now, maybe, I normally wouldn't have this as news, because normally, they might do one, or they might do a TV show, but to plan 10, and just go, we're going to go all in, on a genre that has not normally translated very well, I think they've bitten off quite a lot.
I think they have. Now, like, but I also think the way they release these is very important. I think if they had a relationship with a streaming service that they could release these on, I think they would be a lot less critiqued than if they just go straight to, like, blockbuster movie release.
It's very important. You can get very good TV series out of a video game, though, more so than a movie.
I think it lends itself better because it's longer form.
Yeah.
Like, look at the Sonic cartoon. It was great.
It was pretty good. We're going to move on to our next piece of movie news, and this is, Shaun, I think, kind of right up your street, as this is MCU, and it's got some stuff to do with some cosmic bullshit. Kind of cosmic bullshit, kind of not, because I have Doctor Strange's oldest foe. A new report says he may become the MCU's new Thanos over the next few films.
Interesting. Is it his ego?
It is. It's Benedict Cumberbatch's ego, the dickhead. No, so obviously Thanos is out of the way, and they've dealt with him. They should have went for the head, but they did eventually, and he's gone. So you need a new big bad for Phase 4. And a lot of stuff we've covered over the last few weeks is just with Doctor Strange, and how, in regards to WandaVision and the Doctor Strange and the sequel, the Multiverse of Madness, and Spider-Man 3, there's going to be a serious amount of cross-linking timelines. There's a lot of mind stuff going on. But the new report says that the villain could be the same in all three pieces of media.
Interesting.
Now, you would think it's Gore the God Butcher, maybe, Kang the Conqueror, other serious heavies in the MCU world. Now, we know Gore the God Butcher is going to be appearing in Thor 4.
Yes.
But the possible candidate that they have thrown forward is Nightmare. He is going to be the major antagonist for the next few films. Shaun, who is Nightmare?
Nightmare he's a bad demon dude, but he rules the dreamscape, I think it's called. Basically, when people dream, he can infect their minds and influence certain events. I did a Hero Zero, probably a year and a half ago, of a character called Sleepwalker.
Yes.
And the Sleepwalkers are a team of dream entities who fight Nightmare, basically. That he just poisons people's minds, makes them do bad things. And he's been a Doctor Strange villain, and I think a Ghost Rider villain on occasion.
And Shaun, I'm just going to throw this one thing. We have thought for a very long time WandaVision, Mephisto, the devil of Marvel, is behind it. What if Nightmare is behind what's going on in WandaVision?
That's not a bad shout, actually. It would tie in really well to the fact that Vision is created from the Mind Stone. If it was like, dreams take place in quote-unquote your mind, it would be a nice way to tie all that in, rather than just, it's a demon.
And you have a grieving Scarlet Witch. Maybe he goes into and gives her dream scenario, which would set up WandaVision.
Yeah, exactly. That's like, look, I can give you this in return. Just let me control all your powers for a little bit. That'll be fine.
Yeah, it's like a twisted version of like what her heart desires, but she just gives everything else up.
Yeah, it's and the thing is that the only way to you can stop Nightmare from existing, but the human race needs to stop dreaming. So, but if humans stop dreaming, they'll go insane. Like if they, right. It's not just like, sleepy time, nighttime dreams. It's like having goals and aspirations. So the only way to fully defeat him would be to rid humanity of the ability to aspire to things.
You just have everyone sitting on a couch. It's like, fuck it, it'd be grand. I'm just going to sit here. I'd really like a cup of tea, but that's a bit of a dream too far. I'll just fucking sit here. I think Nightmare, if this report is to be believed, now this is very loose, like it's not confirmed in any way, but it does make sense. Now originally we thought it was Mephisto who was driving everything behind WandaVision and causing Scarlet Witch to go mental, because Mephisto has that connection that pieces of his soul are her children, and so it would make sense to have Mephisto involved. But if Nightmare is the villain of that, Doctor Strange is already confirmed as part of the WandaVision cast.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange, his big bad is Nightmare, or one of his big bads is Nightmare. So, and he's connected from WandaVision, Multiverse of Madness, and Spider-Man 3. So you need a villain who can connect with Doctor Strange through all three of those films. Nightmare is kind of looking up. The more you think about it, the more it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and in terms of even Spider-Man, if you look towards Nightmare, think of everything that there's going to be 3 Spider-Men in it. We're confirmed pretty much: Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland. Think of everything that those Spider-Men have lost, and imagine the scene now where Nightmare shows them a dream world where that loss never happened.
Because it just makes a lot of sense that he would definitely prey on Scarlet Witch, because she's like one of the most powerful beings in the whole universe, but she is definitely grieving. Like, she is in a bad way. So you take her out when she's at her lowest and just maybe slowly try and convince her, steal her powers if you want, and use them to fight Doctor Strange.
Yeah, and there's a lot to be said for that being exactly how it goes down. But I also think that we did see Mephisto, we think we did in the Loki trailer, didn't we? So,
yes.
So maybe it's some kind of...
We see the window. We see the window with Mephisto on it.
Yeah, so maybe it's some kind of grand alliance between a few of the multiversal demons. You could get Annihilus in there somewhere if you want to bring the Fantastic Four, if you want to get them involved at some point. That there's different dimensions. And like you can even take the quantum dimension through Ant-Man. And it's like all these dimensional threats coming in, and that's when the Fantastic Four get involved, because extra dimensional shit is their jam.
And it gives Doctor Strange a lot more, I don't know, stature, I would say, probably, because he'll be a very vital part of this. Like, he's going to be facing up against an antagonist who's affected the whole MCU, or the wider MCU, and so he will probably be raised. Like, during Infinity War or whatever, he kind of took a backseat to Iron Man and Captain America.
Yeah.
But now that they're gone, it would make a lot of sense that Doctor Strange steps up as the main guy. He's like the pillar that everything else, and he helps everybody else, just in terms of Marvel being a fucking weird-ass place, and he's the expert on everything.
That's it, and I'm really excited to see Doctor Strange do more, because it kind of feels like we saw his origin, and then suddenly he was super powerful in Infinity War and Endgame.
And in Thor Ragnarok.
So to see, you know, more of his day-to-day goings-on, or how he deals with threats in a much more personal solo movie kind of way, that's really interesting to me.
And even have him as like the guy that people come to when they're nearly losing or they're out of ideas. Like, make him the expert. So like Spider-Man comes to Doctor Strange, like, I have no fucking clue what's going on. There's loads of universes that I'm seeing Spider-Man everywhere. And Doctor Strange's like, okay, I'll figure it out with you.
Yeah, I'll fix this.
He takes over the role of Tony Stark. If you want to replace Tony Stark with another character that can kind of, everyone in the MCU revolves around, allow that to be Doctor Strange, who's ultimately the most powerful person they have.
He is. I'm also looking forward to, I think they're going to like replace like various elements of Tony Stark's personality are going to be replaced with various Avengers. Like, I think you're right that Doctor Strange will be the main, like, I need help, I'm going to go to this guy. But I also think that, like, Hulk is the new science guy, if you want to go that way about it. And Captain Marvel is the new space guardian, if you want.
Yeah, anything like other dimensions, you come to Doctor Strange. Anything outer space, you go to Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
They're here too.
Because Tony kind of had a finger in every pie in a lot of ways, except for the magic, strangely enough. You still need a Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strangely enough.
Oh, very good, Connor.
Thank you. So, yeah, the new report does say that Nightmare could be the villain, so we will keep an eye on that. I cannot wait for WandaVision to come out.
That's like a week and a half away.
It's going to be quite fun to just watch it. So we're going to move on to our next piece of news, and this is about James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. So we've heard a lot in regards to, a lot of people are very excited about this. And this piece of news is something that will get you even more excited, Shaun, because I have James Gunn has confirmed that The Suicide Squad will be R-rated.
Yes, this is what we wanted.
It is. So now you have James Gunn in control of the whole Suicide Squad, and it is R-rated, which the Suicide Squad should have been R-rated from the beginning, to be honest, because they all have bombs in their fucking heads, and you have to kill some people.
Exactly, yeah. Like, to have a PG-13 movie about a literal death squad with nothing to lose, like, it really didn't lend itself to the Suicide Squad that we got. This one feels like it's now entirely James Gunn's vision for that movie, and good or bad, I think that makes a movie better when it has like a cohesive vision.
And especially because with the R rating, like before that was debt. Like if you had R rating on one of these films, you're going to lose a lot of money. But like after Deadpool, Logan, and Deadpool 2, obviously, like,
and Joker,
they make a lot. And I specifically left it out for Joker. It has shown that you can make $1 billion. It does not matter. People will go see it anyway. And if an R rating is what you need to give the best story, especially, as I said, Suicide Squad is perfectly set up. Like, you have a bunch of killers in the group. They're a team of murderers, and they go into a place and they're called the Suicide Squad because it's like, well, if they die, who fucking cares? They're killers. Whereas in the last movie, we just see like them doing weird, okay things, and Deadshot is like shooting just goons. But these guys should be, they're going to break in and they're going to they'll kill everyone in the building, and if 4 of them die, who cares? Because, like, we don't care about them. They're the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, and wouldn't it be great if, like, because a lot of the arguments that people level against Marvel movies is that they're too family-friendly and they're too sanitised a lot of the time. Like, DC, just lean into we're actually the gritty universe now, because we will show blood and guts and horror.
Well, you're not gritty because it's dark all the time and it's always raining.
No, you're not PG-13 gritty. Do full on, like, make me miserable watching that superhero movie.
Make me sad. No, but I think you could do a Suicide Squad R-rated and make it funny and make it entertaining and just make it batshit fucking insane, which is what they should be. It's like an ensemble.
But didn't you say isn't the villain going to be the Star dude? Starro
the Conqueror, yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be weird body horror shit, which James Gunn is very good at.
And with an R rating, he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, there's no reins on him.
Like, it's going to be a mixture of a comedy, a comedy thriller horror. Like, there's going to be a point where all these characters are all like trapped somewhere, and like 4 or 5 of them just keep getting taken out by these things jumping on their face. If you don't know who Starro the Conqueror is, he's like he's an alien creature who like attaches to your face, like Alien. Think of Alien, but he's in comic books, and he creates like loads of minions, and then once he attaches to your face, or one of his children attaches to your face, you become his slave.
It's a hive mind kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a hive mind, so he controls you. So why they're starting with the Suicide Squad has so many characters. There's like, I don't even want to go through how many people are in this. It's everyone from the first one, and then like another 10. And they've packed it out for the sole reason that they're all going to go in, and at least 9 of them are going to be dead within the first 20 minutes.
Oh, like, undoubtedly. And then the rest of them are going to die on the way to the end of the film.
Yeah, and it's only going to be like probably Margot Robbie left, Joel Kinnaman maybe, and
John Cena.
Maybe John Cena. I think John Cena has a spin-off planned, so I don't think they can kill him.
Yeah, Peacemaker's getting his own thing. But like, Nathan Fillion is dead, certainly.
Oh, like, he's so dead. You're just watching this lineup going, oh, a great actor, you're going to last 4 minutes, maybe 90 seconds.
Yeah, Taika Waititi, you're immediately gone.
Oh, Taika Waititi's first dead. There's no way he signs on unless he's the first dead.
Taika Waititi is going to jump out of the helicopter and he's going to get decapitated by the blade.
I think this is great news. The Suicide Squad, I'm very much looking forward to it now. It's what the first one should have been, but they backed out at the last second.
What if they had 2 running simultaneously? Isn't that a novel idea?
I think you might make more money that way.
I think you're right. I think people are sophisticated enough to understand that.
Isn't it, like, it's so weird that even when you think about it, like I said Batman, but just even consider any other franchise we've seen in the last few years. Like, what if they did a Captain America movie with Chris Evans and then recast Captain America with someone else and brought another movie out the year after?
Oh, that's... Well, look, if it's John Krasinski, I'll allow it.
Okay, John Krasinski's coming out the year after.
Good, okay. But maybe he'll be Mr. Fantastic
different
instead.
Universes.
Different universes, absolutely. But they're the same character.
Okay, we're going to move on to our next piece of news. Now, Shaun, HBO Max has kind of come under a lot of flack over the last few weeks, and DC and Warner Brothers themselves, because Warner Brothers announced about 3 weeks ago now that they were going to be putting all of their 2021 movies on HBO Max.
Yeah, but thank God they notified everyone beforehand, right?
Well, they gave them 10 minutes, and then they allowed the other ones to just notice it on Twitter, which was nice of them. But mostly, what was happening was because they have a lot of big movies coming out in 2021.
Indeed,
and
they
so,
do.
Shaun, were the directors and the people who worked on these movies very happy about the fact that they were no longer getting exclusive cinematic releases?
I don't think they were what you would call pleased. But they
On
might...
a scale of 1 to 10, if they have 5 smiley faces getting progressively sadder, how sad are we talking?
Imagine the really sad smiley face, but someone has drawn X's over the eyes.
Oh no, that's a dead sad person.
He's sad and dead.
He's sad and dead. I would be sad too. But one of the big releases was Dune, Shaun.
Yes.
Shaun, you have been reading the Dune series. I say it like that for no reason. But Shaun, you've been reading them. You're kind of an expert on it now.
I'm the most knowledgeable one on this podcast about it.
Certainly, I can barely say the word. So it is going to be getting a release in 2021 as planned, and then it got moved to HBO Max. But they didn't like that in any way, because Legendary, who are another studio that have worked on Dune, they do not. This is the studio that has financed 75% of the film.
Oh, the majority of it.
And they own the rights to the novel.
Oh.
They were, what word would I say? Sad.
Livid?
Quite irate, I would say.
Furious.
You finance a movie for 75%, and then you own the rights to the novel, and then you are just told that it's going to be given out for free on a streaming service with no cinematic, so you won't be getting that massive box office that you were expecting. Oh, that wouldn't go down too well.
And it's likely not getting a sequel if it goes this way either.
No, because they won't have enough money to make it back.
Yep.
No. And so they have actually tied with the idea of suing DC and bringing a lawsuit forward over the last few weeks.
DC or Warner Brothers, sorry.
Sorry, Warner Brothers, not DC.
This is fuck you, Batman.
Warner Media. No, they hate fucking Robert Pattinson. They're like, whoever the new guy is, we're going with him. Warner Bros, I should say, and Warner Media, and they basically said, we're going to take a lawsuit up against you if you do this, and Warner Brothers have now actually backed off and has said that Dune will release in cinemas now.
Just solely, exclusively in cinemas.
Yes.
Man, that's mad that it took that. It took the threat of being sued for them to realise that was a shitty thing to do.
Because Dune 2 is already being written. And they also have a spin-off show on HBO Max already planned. So this is very much in Warner Brothers' favour to do this, because they were potentially losing $1 billion. Now, we don't know what the world's going to look like in October, whenever this movie was going to come out. But they'd be hoping that large numbers of people would be able to go see it. And they're just basically banking on the fact that, right, we're going to leave it to come out in October. They gave Warner Bros. The choice of you can get sued or you release it in cinemas. And Warner Bros. Were like, alright, cool. But surely this implies the fact that they got it wrong originally, that they went back on their word, because Dune, who are another big company, were like, no, fuck you. We can do this. Not a lot of other projects can do that, but luckily Dune has the fanfare and the fan base behind it that they could mount this sort of lawsuit.
Yeah, because I think that Warner Brothers are banking a lot on Dune to be their next big thing, because it has a massively passionate fan base. It's a massive, it's a sprawling story that it's influenced every other work of science fiction, like Star Wars and everything like that. And it's already all written. So why wouldn't you just get this series of films ready? And
do you think this will cause them to go back on their decision and maybe release the Suicide Squad in cinemas as well?
I don't know. I think DC are going to be less vocal.
Yeah, they're kind of more they're one and the same
in a lot of
ways.
Whereas
Legendary is its own studio, and they trusted Warner Media or Warner Brothers with 25% of the production costs, and they were like, "Oh, we'll put it out over your umbrella," and then they got kicked in the balls.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of other production houses and things like that say, "Hey, can we do that?" And because they're not Dune, they're going to get told no, because they're like, "Okay, if you don't want to go on HBO, find another distributor." you know.
Do you want to know a really interesting thing? Is that Sony Pictures came out this week and they said they're reaping unexpected benefits from Warner Media's HBO Max decision.
Because everyone's selling their ideas.
Because the chairman of Sony came out and said, after the Warner Bros. Announcement, it's been a bit of a boom for us, is what he said, because it's made dating our movies next year somewhat easier. But the real benefit has been the number of incoming calls from talent, creators, actors and directors to us saying, we want to be doing business with you because we know you're a theatrical distributor and producer. This has worked out very well for us.
This is classic Sony, just muddling their way into film success.
They're just like, they were just doing nothing, and then DC decided to shoot themselves in their own head, and they were just like, oh, all these Christopher Nolan now wants to make movies with us. Yeah. And they're like, sorry, they pick up the phone, it's like, sorry, it's Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan is ringing us. Yeah, he says he wants to do a movie with somebody he released to the cinemas. Fuck, what do we say to an actual director?
Yeah, how do we broach this actual business deal?
Oh fuck, yeah. Oh, well, there's a chance to make money, but we haven't made a deal in years.
But I love that as well, and that's something I hadn't thought about, is that, yeah, they don't need to compete with films in the cinema now, because they're going to get half the viewers they regularly would.
Yeah. So, like, Sony have somehow, they're just sitting there, and now all these directors and actors and everything and writers, more importantly, who worked for Warner Brothers, have now said, well, if we write for them, we'll get released on HBO Max, but if we write for you, we'll get a theatrical release, and there's a possibility of probably $500,000 more dollars. So I'm obviously going to write for you.
I think on the new canon on this podcast is that Sony is the Mr. Magoo of the film production world.
They've Boba Fetted their way into profits.
Again.
They're just like, we now have Spider-Man and Christopher Nolan. We've nailed it, lads.
This is... and look, I'm glad. I would have seen a lot of them in the cinemas anyway, if the cinemas are safe to go to. We had this discussion when we had this original story come up. But I am glad that... Legendary got the win there, because if you contributed 75% of that cost, you get to say how it's released.
Yeah, like it's like you pay for 75% of my car, or like me and you go 75%, I go 25%, and we buy a car, and then I turn around to you the next day and said, I decided to sell the car and keep all the money for myself. You're like, okay,
yeah,
great.
And to put it in perspective, the budget for June is $165 million.
That's a lot of money.
It really is, Connor. And 75% of that is...
120? 130?
Like dollars? What?
Yeah, $120 million.
Hang on, I forgot how to do maths. Oh no. How do you multiply?
I'm gonna
75.
It's the X button.
It's $1.23 million.
I said 120.
It's 123 million. Yeah,
thank you.
You got it. Yeah, maths.
Yeah, I could have saved you a lot of time there if you had just trusted my brain.
Hey, Connor.
Yeah.
Shut up.
What? You sound like my maths teacher. Connor, no, seriously, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to work this out. Okay, we're going to finish off Movie Mondays this week, Shaun, with one more piece of Warner Brothers magic.
Jesus.
Now, they've had a lot of news this week, and why they did that? Because the film CEO came out and they did an interview. And when this happens, we get a lot of back chat and whatever. The New York Times interviewing Walter Hamada has kind of given us a lot of news. And the main thing I have here is that Warner Brothers, so not only are they going to be doing 2 Batman films, you think, geez, that seems like a poor decision. And to go all streaming service last year, that seems like another poor decision. But Shaun, they don't just go for 2s.
Oh?
Things come in 3s. Because Warner Brothers is planning more HBO Max spin-off series for DC films.
Oh. Okay.
Yes.
Right. So, like Wonder Woman and Aquaman and The Flash?
Would you like the exact quote, which I think at the start the headline doesn't seem too bad, but wait till you hear Mr. Hamada's actual quote. Here it is. With every movie that we're looking at now, we are thinking, what's the potential HBO Max spin-off that we could get out of it? Hamada explained.
Oh, I feel dirty after hearing that. You fuck. Oh.
I mean, what is wrong with them?
How do they do this consistently? Make good movies. Don't make prequels to TV shows.
Yeah, but what if we make this movie? But it's like, yeah, I've written the greatest Batman story of all time, boss. Yeah, but do we have a HBO spin-off to come out of it? Well, no, I just wrote it as a good movie. Back to the drawing board with you, boy.
So it's over to Sony with you.
So he's like, go to Sony, we don't even want to look at you. I only want movies that set up other movies, Iron Man 2 style. That is the MCU's best.
It's such a fucking, like, it's a snivelly little thing to say. It's being like, we're just going to cash in. We're just going to milk this thing till it's fucking dead. And the thing is, Marvel have done the exact same thing, but they didn't say it.
No, by saying it, it implies also Marvel did at least maybe, how many years? Was it about 8 before they started doing the offshoots? They did Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but nobody really fucking watched that.
Yeah,
it's only this year.
Netflix stuff. Yeah, this year is when they're properly going for it.
But they've had a decade, since 2007, or 2008, sorry. So they've had like 12 years of constant stuff, whereas DC have a DCEU that doesn't even exist anymore, a Batman they haven't even cast yet, another Batman that they're doing on the side, and they also have Wonder Woman and Aquaman, but the Flash movie might be happening, we don't really know. But now they're going to say, right, well fuck it, let's set up 10 more spin-offs.
I don't think it's the way to go. And I don't think
Is this classic DC of looking at what Marvel are doing and skipping the 5 steps in between and going straight to the end step of setting off spin-offs?
It's a carbon copy of what happened like as the second after Man of Steel was released. Yeah,
because like it's the exact same. They're just like, right, well, we want to get to the point where we can release say 4 series on our streaming service a year.
Yeah.
And Disney Plus are doing it, so why can't we do it?
Yeah, on
is kind of the idea.
HBO Max, which I must say, and I keep saying it, it's not worldwide.
No, but what's the potential HBO Max spin-off? There's no point to do the movie unless you have a spin-off idea for it, because you gotta really just... If you have a whole script, right, and a whole movie, and it's really good, but is there even a minute there where we can just like squeeze just plot point that we could expand on later on? Just a character, he turns up, Nightwing shows up, he says, hello Bruce, walks away. Who's that guy? We need a spin-off to find out.
Like, and I don't even think... I think since like Game of Thrones ended, I think HBO has lost a lot of the sparkle that it once had. Like, they still make good stuff, but I don't think they're the gods of television they think they are anymore.
So far, all we have confirmed is we have 2 spin-offs already done. That is Peacemaker, that we've already discussed. That is John Cena's character in Suicide Squad. And that will actually be written and directed by James Gunn. So I think they've already got that locked in.
Okay, and can I just say as well, good for John Cena. You know?
Yeah, I think he deserves a series.
Yeah, he's done, like, he went from a wrestler to a minor actor to now being a massive actor.
And I think he's a good actor as well.
I think he is. I think anything he's in, I enjoy it.
And I think it's nice to see him and, say, Batista. Like, Batista and James Gunn works well, so James Gunn has proven that, like, he can take these people from a different medium or a different whatever. James Gunn put out a really nice tweet about Dave Batista. I think it was yesterday or the day before. It was like a string of tweets. And it was kind of like, when you work with some actors, you can see it in their eyes that they're not really there. And with Dave Bautista, he was one of the most talented people immediately. Like, you seen in his eyes that, and I think he sees that in John Cena as well. That, like, they're not just here they always, because they have to be entertaining you. They're just in the scene and they're acting, and that's actually what acting is.
Yeah, and he has a good eye for picking that out in people.
They also have the Gotham PD spin-off of the Batman. So they've already got one Batman spin-off.
Breeze past that, I think it's going to be awful.
No, so... Yeah, but think about this, right?
What?
You've got a Gotham PD spin-off of the Batman. But what if you brought out the second Batman, DCEU, put out a Gotham Police Department spin-off from that one, then you have a Nightwing show up randomly in one, Tim Drake shows up in the other one, 2 extra spin-offs, but different universes. You're basically just printing money at this stage.
Like, but in the DCEU, J.K. Simmons is Commissioner Gordon.
Yes.
And he's also J. Jonah Jameson.
And he's also not in Gotham PD. Because that's a different universe.
Yes. Yes. Oh.
It's from the Batman universe.
Maybe I'm not sophisticated enough for this.
This movie hasn't even come out and we're not sophisticated at all.
I don't like this news.
They've also got the plans for Bird of Prey series spin-offs. So you've got maybe the Black Canary in that.
Right.
She could get a spin-off. You've got a Wonder Woman spin-off already planned from the Amazons.
The Themyscira thing, yeah.
Yeah, so you've got some ideas there. You've also got, they were hopefully planning a potential spin-off with Black Adam's Hawkman, which is, he's going to show up for 10 minutes.
Yep.
Then get a spin-off.
Which is, it's not great. And I'd just like to highlight there, this is a lot of season 2 of The Mandalorian felt like, hey, let's introduce these characters that are going to have their own show in a year and a half. That was a lot of the show this season. And it was still enjoyable, but it was very like, okay, get on with the main story. This is going to be movies doing that.
Yeah, you want to watch a show and follow your favourite characters. Like, that is why, and I mean, I said at the start, Iron Man 2 is a really bad film. And why is it a bad film? It's because you have Black Widow there, and she's literally only there, her and Nick Fury, to just be basically like, well, there's the Avengers thing coming up. Do you remember the Avengers?
Yeah.
We're in the Avengers. You're not in the Avengers, we are. The Avengers is definitely coming up, Tony.
Yeah, and it's just set up for the sake of setup.
But if you're actively going out of your way to set up things, you will make the things you're working on now worse by doing that.
Yes, yeah, because there's a reason movies don't have ads most of the time, is because it takes you out of things. Even if you're advertising for your own show in the same universe, it takes people out of what's happening in that movie at that minute.
Are you saying that HBO or that DC should maybe look to make good movies first and then spin-offs maybe further down the line?
Isn't that the advice we've given them probably every week that they've come up?
But every single week they've said, let's go against the grain, let's see what happens.
Let's piss off June.
Let's piss off something that could make us $1 billion. So, yeah, DC, that is their new game plan. We will see how this pays off in the coming years or months. Let's see how long they stay on this plan. I can only assume it's going to go perfectly. They haven't done anything wrong in many a year.
They've never had a slip-up. That's famously true of DC.
Their long-term planning has not once let them down.
Nor will it ever, Connor.
Shaun, I think that's it for this week's Movie Mondays.
What a week of news. Thank you all very much for listening to this episode of Movie Mondays. We will be back on Wednesday with Weird News Wednesday, Friday with Hero or Zero, and next Monday with another episode of Movie Mondays. Big thank you, of course, has to go out to all of our patrons over on Patreon. They help keep this show going. They help us put it out 3 times a week, and we really do appreciate all the support over there. Big thanks goes to Waffles Williams, Ciara Lawler, David Clarke, Ed Ball, Joe Burney, Ray Ging, Roisin Hally, Ryan Evanson, Shaun Jamieson, Dominic, Jessiah Green, Anna Hjelmroos and Richard McGrew. Thank you all so much for the continued support. If you would like to join those fine people, get a shout out on the show and access to bonus content on the Patreon, it's patreon.com/Heroes for Hire podcast, and there's a link in the description to that. Also, Connor didn't plug it this week, but there is a merch store. Do you
know what? When you were talking there a second ago, I thought, fuck it, I didn't do a merch plug. And then I thought, how will I fit it in now?
No, Connor, I got this one.
Okay, please.
There's a merch store down in the description. If you want to buy Heroes for Hire t-shirts and mugs and hats and stuff, it's all over there. It's a cool way to support the show. And as always, if anyone has any merch, do send us a message on Twitter. It's actually absolutely great to see. Send it up anywhere. You can do it to the Facebook page, Detective Divilment's discussion group, or you can send it to us on Instagram, Heroes for Hire podcast over there. But I think that's about it, Connor.
I think so. So I've been Connor Lawler.
I've been Shaun Meehan.
And I'll see you next week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.